children are among a long line of people whose lives have been touched by the ministry of Camp Mack. It happens every summer when children come here for a week of fun, learning about God and what community is all about. And it happens year-round as adults meet for a time of retreat, spending a few days, maybe a weekend, refocusing on a specific task, often related to what it means to be a follower of Christ. Through the years, in one form or the other, the building known as Becker Lodge has served as the centerpiece for the camp's ministry. It was the building that housed offices, the kitchen and dining room, meeting and sleeping space, and after renovation in the 1970s and 80s, allowed Camp Mack to add year-round retreats to its traditional ministry of summer camping. But all that changed one July evening in 2010 when fire broke out and burned it to the ground.
When we lost Becker to the fire, it took one of our busiest buildings right out of the mix of what we do. And it was the building that was used every weekend. It was the building that generated the most income of all our buildings.
Ironically, the master plan for the camp, developed in 2000, had called for changes in the configuration of buildings and a new role for Becker Lodge, changes that were still pending when the fire struck.
As I saw that building go up, the question that came to me was, what is God trying to tell me? What is He doing? And it occurred to me that He was really forcing our hand. He was saying, if you're not going to move ahead, I'm going to move you ahead on my own. And so He took away the sacred cow. He said, now you've got to do something. You've got to move ahead in faith.
Insurance money from the fire allowed the camp to build an administrative office and dining facility here at the entrance to the camp, which is where the master plan had suggested it be all along.
So to move it up here, it seemed very logical. To be able to have all our dining on one floor and not have to have an elevator to move things up and down, to be able to put 300 people in one room. It was wonderful this summer to have that 300 plus in that dining room at one time on one floor. It just gave us so many more options.
But with the John Klein Welcome Center replacing the offices, kitchen, dining, and gathering rooms lost in the fire, the camp board feels the time to replace the lodging and meeting areas is now. The Growing from the Ashes campaign seeks to raise $3.7 million to build and furnish a new Becker Retreat Center.
The ability to serve multiple groups at the same time and not having them get in each other's space is exciting, and having more program rooms downstairs where you might even have a third group that's having a day retreat at the same time. It's something that we need and something that will allow us to minister to more people and allow more people to appreciate and be renewed and refreshed here.
The proposed building will incorporate, as much as possible, the foundation of the original Becker Lodge, but offer many modern conveniences, such as being able to serve meals catered from the Warsler kitchen or outside caterers. The building also incorporates the master plan's intent to have the focal point of the main meeting areas located near the lakefront. There's no doubt that one of the cornerstones of Camp Mack's mission is the ability to provide a place of quiet reflection and retreat.
We really like coming back every year because the facilities are great. It's the perfect combination of being able to get away, but still having the facilities that we can all meet in and that you're all comfortable in, but still getting away from the city and getting away from our lives.
Joe Sand's daughter used the camp for the location of her wedding.
The staff here were just very customer driven as we were going through everything, making sure that everything was right and proper for the reception. I would expect that they are here as servants of Christ, and that certainly came through, that they were here as servants of the Lord to serve other people.
The plan is to create a new Becker Retreat Center that will attract people who have come to know Camp Mack over the years as a special place for ministry.
A place where they can leave their cares at the gate and they can come in and work together, play together, draw closer to God, hear what God's call in our life is. That's a real blessing to be a part of that.
Last week I turned away two groups that wanted a place like the new Becker Retreat Center that we don't have, and we have groups that are waiting, and they're anticipating that time. How long they'll wait, I don't know.
A lot of organizations are looking for single occupancy or double occupancy rooms, such as hotel rooms, just because that's the type of amenities they expect at a conferencing center. And then a large enough meetings area where they can congregate and have the AV facilities, the internet connections, that sort of thing, so that they can do the work they want to do. And that's what the Becker Retreat Center will provide us.
The camp board and staff are convinced that a Becker Retreat Center is part of God's will for Camp Mack.
We need to raise $3 million, and we've never raised that much before in any of the other campaigns. And so it'll be really exciting for me to see how God's going to work and how God's going to move and use people. The board and the staff, right after the fire, they had a peace and everybody agreed that they wanted to continue. We didn't want to just shut the camp down. And the board, I think, looked at the master plan and it's like, hey, we have this master plan, let's continue with it. And I even think that, God uses pain and loss in our lives to help us grow and continue. And I think that's what he did with Becker, because if Becker hadn't burned, we didn't really have a reason to move on with the master plan.
Camp Mack has a long history of being a place that is used by God for good, one person at a time, one gathering at a time. So following that legacy, the next step is to provide a place where those ministry opportunities that have meant so much to so many people can continue and even increase.
There's just such a loyalty to the camp and to what it stands for. And children come there and they find a larger church, something beyond the local church. And they find that other kids are in the same boat they are, and they have new experiences. Many of them say God became real for them for the first time at Camp Mack.
It's like a winter wonderland when you're here, and the trees, it's really beautiful even in the winter, and the lake is so pretty, so it's really, really cool.
To have a place of retreat, I think, is important for adults as well, to come and have women's groups and men's groups and different ministries, and to have a place in nature still where you can be quiet the soul, and get nourished and fed and renewed.
That's what a new Becker Lodge will provide, a continuation and expansion of what Camp Mack has offered through the years.
When Becker was remodeled and was moved from being a summer camp building to being a year-round retreat center, we're at that next stage now where we may no longer think of Camp Mack just as Camp Mack. We'll be thinking of it as Camp Mack and Retreat Center, because this new building is going to move us up to the next stage in our ability to serve people year-round in that building. It's going to be able to enable us to reach new groups, to reach groups that haven't considered using us before.
As we've prayed and we've discussed this and talked about this, there's a lot of comfort in the board members that this is what God wants us to do.
We've got a special place here, and we've got a servant attitude. There's not a day that goes by where I'm on the phone calling somebody about something we need, and they say, "Oh, you're with Camp Mack. I was there in so-and-so, and here's what I experienced." We're impacting lives of the people who are sharing with us today, and that's, the term legacy has been used. That's a legacy we have. For 80 years we've been that, and this whole change here is going to move us ahead for the next 80 years or better.